Colin will show us an example of the potential exposures that standard FTP can cause. Colin?
Thanks, Tim. So Tim spoke about some of the privacy and security issues facing users when using regular FTP. What I would like to do now is to illustrate to you by running a real-time packet trace on an FTP server how the user ID, password, and also user data can be viewed in the payload of a packet trace. So let's get started. This is the FTP server that I'm going to start the packet trace on. And let me begin by initiating a packet trace on the server that is running on one of the STS LPARs. All of the technical information is already filled in for me, so I can just hit the start button at the bottom of my screen and I'll be able to view this real-time packet trace interactively on my browser. So let's hit the start button, and as you can see, there's no data yet because I have not initiated the logon from my FTP client. So let's do that. I have a FTP client installed on my laptop and I've customized it to log on to the LPAR where I'm running the packet trace. So let's go to the site manager, and I've called it bcom1 because that's the user ID I'm using for the FTP logon. And here you can see some of the information about this FTP transfer. I'm using FTP, that's the IP address. There's the user ID, and I've already typed in the password, which is not visible on the screen at the moment. So let's hit the connect button, and that'll then log on to the mainframe. So as you can see, I've successfully logged in, and I've also done a directory listing of the user ID bcom1. Let's go back to our packet trace and examine some of these packets. And as you can see, there's a lot of activity. All of the payload, all of the packets was traced between my FTP client and the mainframe. So let me get to the packets, which I would like to point out some of the this information to you. And the first one is on your screen at the moment. Let me highlight that for you. And there you can see the user ID bcom1. So that's the user ID that is being used for this FTP session transfer. The next one shows where we're being prompted for the password. And the next packet, there you can see some of the very sensitive information. There's the password for this test user ID that I'm using for my logon. If we go further down, we're able to see some of the user data, and there you can see the bcom1 directory listing requested, and you can see also some of the other user data that was sent between my FTP client and the FTP mainframe. Okay, so this highlights how the sensitive information can be viewed in a packet trace. As Tim mentioned, there's so many tools available that can capture IP packet trace information, and anyone with a little know-how can access this sensitive information.